Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Melanie Brown and this is Museums with Mel. Join me on a global tour of museums and photo exhibitions where I celebrate art and culture from around the world. For episode 8, we're at Echo Contemporary in Atlanta, Georgia, where we just viewed Taylor Edgerton's Thesis exhibition, Book Under the Pew. We were also able to interview Taylor inside the space and get a little bit more insight about the exhibition.
My name is Taylor Edgerton. I'm from Metter, Georgia, and this is my thesis exhibition show, Book Under the Pew. The name of my show is Book Under the Pew, and basically it's a homage to the women in my family and learning that the land that we own as a Black family was protected and sustained by a woman while the men were off at war. And to me, I just feel like women have played a vital part of my life, including my grandmother who raised me. So I really just wanted to do a deep dive into the family history. And that started with my brother, which is the boy work on the wall. This work here is called The Boy, and this is portraits of my little brother, Alden. As you can see, he's kind of posted up in these vulnerable poses. And I kind of hit on the theme of Black masculinity in boyhood and eventually adulthood. The name of these images, I titled them The Boy. I have the title The Boy, and he's doing something. So it's The Boy blank. Obviously, boy in itself is a derogatory term that was used in the Jim Crow days. So I really just wanted to kind of emphasize that he is the boy. He is of importance, and that is my intention. I'm using him for a reason. So this is the second evolution of the boy work, and I named it Brother Brother. This work was 100% inspired by Rashad Taylor's Little Black Boy series, the documentation of his son through his adolescence. This is just more so going with him and really just documenting him on a day-to-day basis. Once I moved from the boy, I moved into the series of the women, which is my grandmother and her 3 sisters. This portion of the show is titled The Whitaker Sisters, and I have portraits of all 4 of them. And if you notice, all of the frames are different to resemble the shades and the hues of pews, but also kind of differentiate their roles in my life and in our family. This piece here has a little bit more of a personal connection towards me. So this is my sister, my younger sister, and she's wearing the dress that I wore as a child. And again, going back to the church, I was raised by my grandmother, so putting on a dress was not an option. Like we had to do that. And it was either for church or for honor banquets and all this good stuff. So I just remember that feeling of being forced to put on a dress. So I basically wanted to take a Deanna Lawson approach and use my sister as a stand-in and put her in this dress and really just kind of beautify that experience in my life, because I've kind of came to terms with it. But also I just wanted to visually put a more personal aspect of this story, because it still all leads back to the church in some type of way. This portion of the series is called The Bittersweet South. And pictured here is a watermelon and a good bowl of old-fashioned collard greens. And I think for this image here, I created it with the intent of it metaphorically representing America. And I always call this seeping out of it like blood. And the watermelon itself is cracked open, so it's kind of like a representation of being Black in America. These are First Sunday plates, in which I call it, and there used to be 4, but there are 3 here. And this one is my grandmother, this is her sister Connie and her sister Beverly. And again, these kind of resemble the Whitaker sister. And in making these, my intention was to symbolize their roles as the cooks. So with my grandmother, or all 3 actually, all were taught how to cook at the tender age of 13 by their great grandmother. Again, the same person that kind of kept this house sustained and protected. So with this, I wanted to symbolize that by taking Polaroid lifts and putting them on these fine china plates but also the images on the plates are of them in their Sunday best, showing just their hands with the intention of not showing their faces. And in that aspect, I just really wanted to show how their hands do the cooking, but also how, again, going back to the church, the regalness of what they wear to church is just as important. This shadow box is my references to not only the house, but how the Whitaker family got to where they are to build this house. So through this research, this is how I kind of found out the importance of this property and this land and how it came to be. Most of my research, I spoke to some older cousins. I'm talking as old as 70 years old, and also my uncle, who has done a lot of genealogy work within our family. And all three of us kind of pieced together that we were once in Toomsboro. And then we kind of traveled via the now defunct Central of Georgia Railway to where we are now in Metter. In this research, I have 4 images here, and basically I did a typology of this same chair in the land in front of the same house in which we own. And the importance of this is that this chair is literally older than me. I actually took this image in 2022 before starting this series, but I kind of continued it through 2024 as a typology. And I just wanted to document the change, but also kind of put a symbolization of my family in that chair in the same spot. This video montage here is a compilation of not only my process of taking images, but also the things that kind of inspired me along the way. Along my MFA journey, my professor and mentor, Michael James O'Brien, really forced James Baldwin on me. So I did a lot of research and references to him. And this is an interview that kind of stuck out with him and Nikki Giovanni. And them just kind of talking about the experience of Black life. But as you notice, Nikki is obviously younger, and I feel like Nikki is me in these conversations, but James Baldwin is the elders that I kind of questioned and talked to throughout this process. So it's really like a young versus old conversation, and that parallel is kind of why I put that into this series. I want viewers to take away from this show is the appreciation for Black land ownership in America, especially in 2025, but also the importance of women and how they've always been behind the scenes of a lot of these stories. And I just want to pretty much beautify these experiences, but also talk about the deeper histories of it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you on the next one.